Still an older man, but maybe he wears big glasses and has a giant nose. Big glasses, little beady pupils. Draw his ear in there. He starts looking like a Simpsons character all of a sudden. Give him some bushy eyebrows. He looks a little crazy right now. But we'll deal with that. Let's turn that light off right now. Some wrinkles in his face. Give him a big mustache. Round out his head. Maybe he has shine in his head. Maybe some liver spots. Maybe he is slender. Wearing a collared shirt. These are all very cartoony right now. You could make him an old samurai looking man. You can make him look like he's 20, but in reality he's 60, like Quagmire is on Family Guy. It all depends on what you want to do with your characters. There's no set rules. You could borrow elements from other anime characters, which often designers do. You can make characters any way you want. Give him suspenders. You can make them any way your heart desires. These are your ideas. And no one should tell you how to do your own designs unless, of course, you're working for someone. But here's 3 designs. Well, 3.5 designs of older men. They're very cartoony. Yes, if I sat here and I drew a photorealistic man, it might take a lot longer. I'm just trying to get to the point across to you that when you're doing character design, it's your call. Of course, unless, like I said, you're working for a studio. But otherwise, it's your call on how your character should look. If you're doing your own production, you are in charge. People don't like your drawings, it's fine. Not everyone out there is going to be your fan. It's unfortunate, but everyone has an opinion. Everyone's entitled to it as well. But no one can tell you how to do your art. I can't tell you how to do your art. If you want to do stick figures, do stick figures. If you want to do high art, do high art. You want to design anywhere you want to. Any way you want to, pardon. No one can tell you what to do, how to do your work. You only allow people to influence you. You're in charge of your own happiness. And designing, for me, is a form of happiness. I try to draw every day if I can. If I'm not busy with other business of the day or planning out other uh, shows or movies or documentaries. It all depends on what you want to do, how you want your world to look. If you're doing anime, you're creating your own world. It's all about you. It's your vision. It's your creation. Can't spend time thinking about others and their opinions, because in the end, they don't have to do the work. You're the one who's going to have to do the work. You're the one who's going to have to find financing for your films if you don't have a partner to do so. It all depends on you and your vision and your happiness. So this is just a quick half-hour drawing lesson of different styles of characters. There's so many different ways you can go, and you can even push it even further, and you can make characters more realistic. There's no end to it. Just figure out your own style, or what style you want your characters to look like. Keep drawing, keep creating. With anime, it's nothing but creating. Constantly draw. Find the time to draw. Try not to make excuses. If you don't feel right, try to overcome it. Just keep drawing. And you'll find your character. There are point in times when your character will just start leaping off the page and talking to you. They'll start telling you who they are. Sounds crazy, but some characters just seem to have a voice of their own. And have their own personalities, and they live on your screen or on your piece of paper, but to me, lots of characters are alive. And those that start talking to you, listen to them. Some of them seem like they are breathing and have their own voice. just keep at it. Don't give up on yourself, because there's no one out there who's going to do the work for you. You could, unless you're hiring somebody. But in that sense, then it's not really your work. You're like Stanley. He doesn't draw. He writes. He's an author. He's an author. And if you want to be an artist, you have to do the work. You can get guidelines from authors or producers. They'll tell you how they want certain things to look. But you're going to have to come up with those ideas and execute them. So we have multiple characters now. Same description, different styles. Any one of these right now can become my manga on a string shop owner. They can all exist as customers or patrons of the shop in one form or another. They could be on posters, or they could be singing a song. All depends on your style, or the style you want your show to be in. This is the beginning of designing. I'm nowhere near finished with this type of stuff. I'm sorry, with these characters, I'm just working through different styles, and there's hundreds of more styles out there that you can adapt. But these are just right off the top of my head. Stream of consciousness. These are the type of drawings I'm doing. Some of them I'm not really feeling, like that one, or the Futurama looking character. But all three of these right now, I think could they have potential, depending on the art design, look aesthetic that I'm going for with manga on a string. This one might be a little bit too realistic, even though I haven't gone all the way into detail, and his body's kind of janky. But he might be a little bit too realistic. Maybe if it was a manga and didn't have to animate him, maybe that would be fine. Number 2 is nice. Well, it's more of an anime looking character. He looks kind of shocked and surprised. So I don't know about that one. Seems a little scared of the world. Maybe he's seen too much. He's experienced too much. And his hairline is kind of also janky. But number 1, I really like. It's like a Go Nagai type of character. His body is all still in planning stages. Still is working through the design, but he looks like the type of anime character that I enjoy looking at if they're an older gentleman, like Grandpa in One Half. The small, chibi-looking kind of older person. Lots of spirit, lots of knowledge. Yeah, so that's lesson 1. Just figuring out your idea, figuring out your character designs, you should have a relative idea of what they should look like. You know, give them an age, give them something to wear, even though you are probably going to change their outfit in time, or maybe even during an episode they have different clothing on. Lots of anime have different design clothing costumes for their characters, but give yourself an idea. You know, give them an age, give them a sex. If they're a robot, you know, what kind of robot? Are they a giant mecha? Are they like a squid mecha, or like a pen mecha? I don't know. Just start with an idea. Start with a written word. Make sure you have something that you can animate or create a character to, for you can later on animate. And keep them kind of simple. Don't give them too many lines, because if you do, it's a disaster to animate. It works well in manga, but if you're drawing a character thousands of times, you are hard pressed to do it accurately all the time, with speed, and enjoy animating after you've drawn them a couple of times, and you realize that you have 90 more frames to do for just one cut. So keep it simple, keep it loose for right now. Just think about design, think about what the character should look like. Give them some text. Give them a personality. Write down those personalities and start designing, and I'll return for a more in-depth character design drawing course. Alright, thank you. So, we started thinking about design. It was a quick lesson. I just wanted to start thinking about what the character and what the world that the character is in might be like. And you might not think about it, but the world that you create and the characters you create, they should mesh with each other. They shouldn't be juxtaposing each other too much. You see it in all different anime, from Space Dandy to Shin-chan. The worlds and the characters, they have usually the same type of quality to them. Like in Shin-chan, it's less lines. The characters seem to fit with the backgrounds. In Space Dandy, there's more detail. There's bigger sets, because the character Dandy himself is larger than life. Lots of things you want to start thinking about. Start doing research. If you can't think of anybody to draw as your characters, look towards your friends or your family members, or even yourself. Put yourself in that character role. Doesn't matter if you want to create a woman or a child, a little girl, little boy, a dog, a bear. There's lots of different types of characters you can create for your character or your characters. It's your world. You do what you want to, and just make it as good as you can, and try to make the characters match in quality. For instance, if you ever seen the Jackie Chan cartoon, all the characters shared similar blocked faces, or if they were a child, they had the giant head and the big eyes, and the backgrounds were kind of flat and washed out. So just keep the quality of each character the same, but the design can be totally off the wall if you wanted to. If you take Ranma one half, Ranma himself, changes from a guy to a girl and girl to a guy depending on what type of water he gets hit with, hot or cold. And his father also changes. So his father's human, and he also changes into a giant panda bear. So it all depends on your likes and what your story's about. Just keep the character design look consistent, not necessarily the characters looking the same, if that makes any sense. So at this moment, if we were in an anime studio, we're doing design, but there's a second job going on right now of a production assistant. The assistant will be creating boards in like literal boards that you see like on the wall back there, like push pins, a color chart. So they'll start creating a color chart, putting post-its on the wall, writing down what stage of production everyone's in on whatever episode they're working on. They're color coded. I guess the color would be specific to each company. I guess each production assistant might use different colors, or the producer and director want them to use a certain color. It all depends on them. As well as creating sheets of the same type of graph or board inside of Excel, so they can digitally know where everyone's at. And if a producer needs to see it in his email, it can be emailed to them. And that can also be changed on the fly, easier than writing on a post-it, running to a wall, putting a piece of paper on it. But that's a job that's going on right now, and as each stage gets done or progresses, someone from the staff will come over to the board and either fill it in with a pencil or a marker and show the progression of each stage of the production itself. So right now we're still in design. There's a lot more to go over. Next lesson will be, we'll have more drawing in it. Just for right now, go back, either watch the video again or start thinking about your character or your characters that you want to create. I used the synopsis idea of manga on a string to start creating my character, just before I have something that something solid that I could start creating off of, and not just looking at a blank screen or a frame on a screen and thinking, where do I go now? So always start with the written word, give your character some traits, and I'll post some information at the end of this video about different type of characters, and I'll show you some images. But you can go on Google and search for anime character designs, or Pinterest, and you'll find it seems like an unlimited number of different designs and different types of characters. So keep your character design overall consistent, but each character can be very, very different, from a squid monster to a panda bear to a koala to a talking car like Speed Buggy or anything. Just keep the art style consistent, but the characters can be as different as you want them to be. It's your world, you're creating it. Thank you, and come back for our next class.